So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers.
G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name is Baron Grant and I'm wrapped to be with you for another day, another tip, another trick, another idea, something that's going to help you make changes in your life to lose all that weight that you've been wanting to lose, live super healthy and be happy with your body and where you're at and feel comfortable, happy and healthy in your body for the rest of your life. That's what it's all about, making long-term change. No quick fixes, no gimmicks, no nonsense, no rubbish, no protein shakes and pills and counting calories and that bullcrap. Just simple tips that are going to help you to be able to make long-lasting change. Now, something I've heard for years when I've been doing calls with people is this: Baron, I have literally tried everything. I've tried everything. All right, so with all respect to all those people that I talk to and lovely people that I talk to, that's bullcrap. Nobody on earth has tried everything. That's just not even true. The problem with this comment, here's the big problem with it, is that when you say it and you say it out loud and you say it to lots of people and you tell that story over and over and over again, that you've tried everything, you actually start to believe the nonsense that you're saying. And then the flow-on effect of that is that if you've tried everything, it must be that your body's busted and it actually doesn't work. It works somehow differently to everybody else's. That maybe your body doesn't break down food through your intestines and through your gut. Maybe your heart doesn't beat in the same way. It's just not true. Our bodies are pretty much the same. Yes, we have issues that come in and out, and we have issues with our bodies, but the reality is the way that we eat, the way we process food, it's all the same. That is genuinely how our bodies work. They're all very similar. And when you go and start having that narrative of, I've tried everything to lose weight, and you start saying that out loud to everybody else, you will start to believe it, and it's simply false. 100% categorically false. And the reason it's false is because there are millions of things that you could try. That's probably the hardest part of this as well. The word try is a real weak word. When we try things, we don't actually commit to make the change, to own the change and to become a different person to get exceptional results. We just try things, and trying things is a real crappy way to do anything. We either should do it or we don't do it. And as my son would always remind me of, is Master Yoda in Star Wars has so much wisdom, and he says, try not, do or do not. There is no try. I probably got the quote a little bit wrong, but go with me there, that's okay. What we want to do is commit and make change and accept nothing else. So people will tell me, I've tried Jenny Craig and Michelle Bridges, and I've tried Isogenics and Herbalife and and gastric sleeve and gastric band and the balloon in my stomach, and I've heard all of them. And I think genuinely when people start on these things, that they're with great intentions, and they're like, this is it, this is going to be the one. But maybe we fall off, and maybe we don't fully commit to whatever the thing is that we're trying to do. And I think this applies not just in weight loss, but in life in general. So many of us, and me included, all of us, we start to create a narrative in our head about what we can achieve and what we can't achieve. And then we start to create the whole story around it. And then we'll start talking about it. I've tried everything, nothing works. I'm always going to be poor. I'm always going to be this. I'm always going to be that. I'll never be able to get out of this. I'll never be able to lose weight. It's too hard. I can't do it. Well, that's bullcrap. Everybody can absolutely get to the body that they want. It just depends how much you want it. Do you have to put in effort? Yes. Do you have to put in way more effort than what you maybe have in the past? Yes. But there is always a way to get it done. And so I want you to think about it a little bit like this. Think about when, let's say you're a parent. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you're not, but you've all seen this. When a new baby is starting to learn how to walk, there's a process that they go through. And the process is something along the lines of crawling first. Then they might sort of start to stand up on things, one-handed. It's a bit scary because we think they're going to fall over, they're going to cry here, but they start to slowly move from crawling into standing still for a little while, and then into walking. Now, how many times do you reckon they fall over during that process? Thousands, I would imagine. Thousands. I've seen my 5 children do it, and thousands of times they just fall on their bum. Bang. Luckily they've got a little bit of insulation there with the nappy, but they fall on their bum over and over again. Now some kids will start walking at 9 or 10 months, crazy stuff. Some will walk at 12 months, some will walk at 15 months. It doesn't even matter. But the point is, at some point, they're going to walk, right? And we don't, as parents, accept no for an answer. Here's the big difference, right? We don't accept excuses for our children who cry when they fall over and it hurts. What do? Up you go, go again, go again, go again, go again. There are thousands of times that they've fallen over, right? We don't accept, I don't want to do it, or it's too hard, or I've tried too many times. We don't accept that. There's actually just a non-negotiable that your child has to walk. And the reason they have to walk is because it's so important for their life, and that discussion in our head is already done. We're not contemplating whether we will, allow our child to give up and just crawl for the rest of their lives. Generally speaking, we're going to force the issue to ensure that they walk. Children are resilient and they're tough, and they get up and they go again, and they get up and they go again. What happened? What happened to us as adults that we don't have that same level of resilience to go again and go again and go again and go again? And when it doesn't work, go again, go again, go again. But what happens is we live in a society of victims where it's everybody else's fault, and we can blame something else or somebody else for why we're at where we're at. I see it every single day on phone calls that I make. The people who get dramatic results are the ones who are willing to go again and go again and go again and go again. So what I want you to think about is, you haven't tried everything. That's the main message of today, but you haven't tried everything. But I want you to think about your decision that you're making to lose weight and keep it off, right? You need to make the decision that it's not, I'm going to try something. It is, I am doing it. And if I don't have the right strategy, I'm going to keep going until I find the right strategy to get it done. That could be with someone like me, or it could be with someone else, because you might think I'm a jerk. That's cool. But the point is, don't think that you can't, because you absolutely can, just like you learned how to walk, just like you've maybe taught your kids how to walk. But the decision has to be, there is no backing out. There's no way to go back. Something I always say to people is, when you lose the weight, get rid of the clothes. So if you're a size 16 and you want to be a size 14 or 12 or 10 or whatever, you don't get to keep those clothes at 16, because then you're giving yourself permission to go back again. Tony Robbins is a ripper, right? And Tony Robbins tells a story about when you take the island. If you want to take the island, you've got to burn the boats. So when you sail across to conquer that island, you've got to burn the boat, so there's no going back. There's no, I'm going to try. Because trying gets us nowhere. It gets us nowhere. We have to commit and go, this is what I'm doing. That's it. No matter what's happening in my life, that is it. I've seen some people make unbelievable change in their life because they just went, I'm doing it. I'm working with a guy right now. His name is Vince. Vince is 72 or 73 years old. I have to double check on that. But he's in his 70s. He's not a young man. And he had been eating vegan for a few years and not losing any weight. And he's like, I don't get it. I'm actually going to have him on my podcast in a few weeks' time. But he's like, his diabetes, he's got, high blood sugars, and he's got issues with his high blood pressure. And anyway, it's a bit of a mess, and he wasn't doing too well at all. So anyway, we started working together. Now, in the last 3 weeks, Vince has lost 11.5 kilos in 3 weeks. Now, all he's doing is walking, eating good food, all the foods at Coles and Woolies. I don't have special food, I don't have fancy food. But what he did at the start, drinking lots of water, but what he did at the start is he said, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. So just no discussion. This dude's 72, 73 years old. He's walking 16, 17, 18,000 steps a day. There's no whining, no complaining, just does it. And that's how you win at everything. The challenge we have is that we want to find the easy way. And then when that easy way doesn't work, we start to blame the way, or blame something else because we didn't get to where we wanted to be. Sorry, I'm a bit fired up today. but when I see a 73-year-old man doing what he is doing, losing so much weight, started at 105 kilos, right? And he's lost 11.5 kilos in 3 weeks, just moving and eating good food. If he can do it, anybody can do it, right? It doesn't, but we start to think, we create the narrative that we can't because we've somehow tried everything before. And if we think we've tried everything, you haven't. But if you think you've tried everything, there's more things that you can do and actually change so that you can get to where you want to be. I know I'm going on a little bit, but I actually want to share a quick story that I love. So I'm a big Rocky fan. Rocky is my favorite set of movies on the planet. Now, number 5 wasn't the best movie, but the rest of them, I just love them. I could watch them over and over again. And every time I think Rocky's going to lose, but he doesn't always win, but those moments, I still love it. It's still so exciting every time. And it might sound a little bit pathetic, but I don't care. I could watch those movies over and over again, and I get inspired and excited every single time because it's the underdog story. But the thing that I love about the character as well is the person who played it, and that's Sylvester Stallone, right? And Sylvester Stallone, you probably know some of the story, but I just want to give a little bit more to it. Sylvester Stallone, before he did Rocky 1, was completely and utterly flat broke. No money, completely broke. And he was, I won't tell the whole story, but he got to a point where he had so low on cash that he sold his dog, his little dog, and he was shattered because it was his best friend in the world, but he sold his dog. He was so poor and had no money. He was trying to be an actor. He was trying to, forge a career, but nobody wanted anything to do with him because of some, I guess, genetical issues he's got. He couldn't speak properly and he had a bit of a droop in his face. And so people would get thrown out of, acting opportunities all over the place because he couldn't speak very well. And they're like, bro, you sound dumb as, you're not going to be able to do anything. So you can't have this job. Anyway, he went and saw a boxing fight, and the end of the story is he wrote a script in a very short amount of time for Rocky 1. He took it to some agents. They eventually offered him, I think it was $130,000 or something crazy, anyway, well over $100,000. This man had no money. And they said, but we want this person as a star in the show and you can't be the star of the show. But because he said, I want to be the star. I wrote this. And they said, you're a writer, you're not an actor. And he said, no, I want to be acting in this show. And they said, no way. So he denied them. He said, no, you're not having my script. That's it. Anyway, they went to him again, offered him like $250,000, then over $300,000 they offered it to him if they could buy his script, but someone else was going to be the lead role. They said, you're a nobody. You can't speak. You can't do this. We're not going to do it. Anyway, long story short, he wouldn't give it to them, even for that much money, and he had no money. No money. So to knock back $300,000, he was pretty convinced at what he was trying to achieve. This is a big part of this story as well. You have to know what you want, and you have to go for it no matter what. But the next bit of the story is the coolest bit. So then they eventually came back to him and they said, here's $35,000. We'll let you be the star of this show, but we're only going to pay you $35,000 for your script and for you to basically act in the movie because we don't trust that you're going to be the star and you're not going to make the money that we need to. Anyway, so the question is, what did he do with that $35,000? Well, interesting story. He went to the place where he knew the guy who bought his dog from would be. This is a couple of months later now. And so he finds this guy and waits there every day for 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And finally this guy walks past who was the person that he sold the dog to with his dog. And he said, look, this dog I know that I sold this to you. And he sold it to him for like $25 or whatever it was. And he said, but this dog means the world to me, so can I please have him back? And the guy said, no way, this is my dog. I'm not going to give it back. And he goes, I'll give you $100 for your dog, for the dog. And he's like, nah, no way. And so then he goes, I'll give you, so he changed his strategy, right? Changed his strategy. He goes, I'll give you $200 for the dog. And he just kept changing his strategy. So he could have walked away and gone, tried everything. But no, he kept changing his strategy and increasing the value that he was going to give. Now, remember, this guy had no money. Sylvester Stallone had no money. He got $35,000 to do this thing, to do the movie and everything. And now he's trying to buy this dog back and he's already up to $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Anyway, he bought the dog for $15,000. So half of the money he just made, he bought his dog back, who ended up being a star in the show as well. And the guy who he bought the dog from had to have a role in the movie as well, which he did. So it's kind of a cool story, but the thing that I love about that story is he knew what he wanted. So Sylvester Stallone knew what he wanted, both in getting his dog back, but also in being the star in the show that he had written. He wanted to be a famous actor. He wanted to be the actor and the star of this show that he'd written. And everyone told him no. The story is that he actually had been kicked out of about 1,500 places, agencies and stuff. Not that there's that many in wherever he lived, but he'd gone back to them multiple times, been kicked out over and over again before he actually got accepted to do this, right? So first of all, he wouldn't take no for an answer. He was so committed to the process that he was going to actually win on this thing and he was going to be the star of the show. So that's the first thing I love about it, but that he was still committed to get his dog back as well. Both of these things are awesome to me because there was no, I've tried everything. There was no sitting back going, I've tried everything, now life must happen to me. No. He was the person making life happen for him. It was his choice. There was no, I'll just let it all happen and now I'm a victim of my circumstance. I can't get my dog back. No, he made it happen so he could get his dog back. Everyone told him no, told him he was stupid and can't speak, but he just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going until he got what he wanted. And I think when I hear the comment, I've tried everything, it's not true. Or you haven't made the change you need to actually stay on the process and win. So your reason has got to be strong enough, which I've spoken about in other videos and I'll speak about them more, but there's always a way. Like I said, it's not about me, whether it's with me or with someone else or by yourself. You can do it by yourself. There's always a way. Yeah, there's strategies that you can learn to help you to get there, but the reality is you've got to eat good food and you've got to move and you've got to do it every day. Every single day for the rest of your life. It just depends how much you want it. That's the truth of it. That is the cold hard truth. There's no miracle quick fix, no stupid keto bunnies, no stupid keto pills, none of that stuff. You got to eat good food that God gave us, not food that is out of packets. When you make those sort of changes, you will win, whether it's with me or with somebody else. But you have to, if you're the person that is telling yourself that you've tried everything, own it. It's not true. There's always a way. And just like you never gave up on walking when you were a kid until you got it, you can't give up until you get it to where you want to be when it comes to weight as well. So commit to the process. Whatever the process and whatever the structure it is that you choose to go with, commit and go. And don't give up at any point. There can't be quit. Because quit, you're done. And then you can sit in the place of victim and go, I've tried everything and nothing works. Bullcrap. Something works. It always works. But you have to be committed and start the process. So that's my message for today. A little longer than normal. And sometimes I wonder why I have so many words. But I just want you guys to make sure that you think about that you can actually win on this process. If you fully commit, you will get there. I promise you that. It works every time. As soon as you eat the right food and you move, but you've got to stop trying and start taking massive action. Action is all it's about. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. The power is in the action and the change, and you can change today, immediately. Vince, 3 weeks in, 11.5 kilos down. Pretty good change if you ask me. And I tell you what, he didn't believe the process beforehand either because he was eating a totally different way, but he finally went, I'm not getting it quite right here. Ask for a bit of help and look what happens. You can do the same thing too, right? You can do the same thing too. You just have to commit to the process. If you want a bit of a hand on the journey, head to digitaldiet.com. You can get the link down the bottom and I can have a chat with you on the phone and I can help you on the journey. But have an awesome day. Make massive change. Stop half-hearting it. Oh, and by the way, it's Christmas around the corner. Who gives a crap? It doesn't mean you need to eat crappy food. You can eat amazing food during Christmas and lose weight during Christmas, and don't use it as an excuse to not lose weight and get healthy. You should start now to be healthy, not later on. Have a good one, guys. Talk soon.